Hey everybody, I'm Ryan. This is Roll for an... Oh God, what is the... Where did this... Oh God, it's... Oh God! Ooze! Monster Mash! That's right, today on this episode we are going to look at oozes. Now the Monster Manual only gives us like 4 different types of oozes to work with, but if you go to some other resources and with a little bit of creativity, you can find a lot of different variations of these slimes and oozes to put your party in a sticky situation. So let's take a look at the 4 types of oozes that you're going to find in your Monster Manual. You've got the black pudding, the ochre jelly, gray slime, and of course, the gelatinous cube. I'm also a big fan of the Oasis, Oasis, and the corrupting ooze that you can find in the Tomb of Foes by Cobalt Press. You've heard me talk about their work in the past, and I think it's a really great extra resource to have. So what are some of the similarities that we're going to see across all of these different oozes? Well, first of all, they have no need to sleep whatsoever. So they just sort of wait and hunt, and even if they're still, they're not napping. They're always aware of what it is that's going on. And despite what you might have heard from a couple of other sources out there, they are immune to prone. You can't knock a gelatinous cube over. It's right there. It's in the text. No, you can't do it. I mean, and come on, seriously, that doesn't even make sense. The way their bodies are oriented, it's not like there's an up or a down. They don't have limbs for locomotion. No, you can't do it. You can't knock them prone. Stop trying. Most oozes, they're not really sentient creatures. They're not super smart, and they don't operate much beyond just sort of hunting, a need to eat and to pursue some prey or lie in wait. Most of them are going to be your ambush predators. Now that's not always the case when we talk about the gray slime. There is a special variant there, but we'll get to that in a second. And all of your oozes are going to tend to have a burning or a numbing or a sort of an acidic or maybe a really hot or a really cold feeling anytime your players touch them. So that means for their attacks, especially if you have an unarmed fighter, they're going to be taking damage as they're landing their hits. The first one I want to look at is the black pudding. Now the black pudding's really great for your caves and your crypts and things like that. It has really good camouflage, especially if it's low light, so I would consider increasing the spot check or the difficulty on your perception test in order to see if they're there. Now these ones are really good sort of ambush predators. They leap up and they go after the players when they sense that they're there. Like I said, the camouflage is pretty great, especially when it's dark. It's easy to mistake them for a puddle or just another shadow or something like that. They also dissolve everything except for stone, so that may be something that your characters can be on the lookout for to see, okay, well, we don't see any debris or detritus or anything like that. But I still think making them kind of hard to spot is really cool. In our current campaign, Dawn reskinned one of these in order to be the beer ooze that we had to fight. And again, it didn't take much. She changed the color of it and she changed the way that it smelled. And she made it so that it didn't dissolve wood. That way they were able to hide and reproduce and go find other ale casks to be laying in wait in order to sort of jump out and attack whenever anyone went near that. So, like I was saying, a little bit of creativity, and all of a sudden you've got a new ooze, a new slime that you can send after your party, and just really kind of use the base stat block that you've got from your Monster Manual or wherever you're finding it. Your ochre jellies are a little bit smarter than some of the other oozes. They can hunt down. It's not uncommon for them to hunt down and to track the party. And it says that they're smart enough to know not to go after a big group. And so they may lay in wait and be farther off, waiting for one of your party members to go off by themselves. So if you're camping and you're in an area where they might have these ochre jellies, when you've got that party member that goes off to gather firewood, or you've got them making a nature check in order to find the track or the trail that they're supposed to be on, or heck, even when someone has to leave to go and use the restroom or something like that, it's a nice opportunity for one of these smarter of the oozes, the jelly, to jump out and attack. A really cool ooze that doesn't need to wait for someone to be off on their own is the Oasis, or the Oasis ooze. And you can find that from Kobold Press. Now this thing is really cool, and in the flavor text it says that it may be related somewhat to a mimic, but this thing's size rating is gargantuan. It looks like an oasis out in the desert, and it has this really cool ability where it can cast a mirage to make it look nice and safe and inviting. But the mirage isn't a magic spell, it's not a magical ability, it's something it's able to do. So detect magic will miss it, and you can't dispel it or anything like that. They've got some other really neat abilities. If you drink any of the water, it can give you your players strange dreams and compel them to take certain actions. And there's some other nasty stuff that happens if you stay in the area too long, breathing in the vapor. And like all of our oozes, they have a really nasty acid damage. I mean, it's a lot of damage whenever they engulf a party member. The Corrupting Ooze is another large-sized ooze, again from Kobold Press, and this thing spends a lot of its times in the city, especially in the sewer. It has a really fast swim rate, and it's able to hunt things down. What's really terrifying is when it takes on this vaguely humanoid figure, and there's a lot of plant matter and some of the bones that don't dissolve, and it can change into this kind of person-looking thing to go running through the streets in order to terrorize the village or the city, or to chase after your party. Sort of think about like a really terrifying, pissed off Swamp Thing. So those are the two really cool ones that you're gonna find in some outside sources. Gray oozes pretty much look like they are made of stone, and then they liquefy and go off on their own whenever they do their attack, and that one's really neat. We fought one of these recently in our campaign, and something that's really great about the gray ooze is that they will destroy metal. They corrode metal. So when you have your players that are attacking it, if they get hit and their metal armor could start to deteriorate and lose armor class bonuses, and their weapons can lose points off of how much damage they do. A number of the people in our party are facing that right now. My character Storm, she uses a greatsword that's made out of obsidian, so we actually had to change our tactics, where I stood in a doorway and she attacked with her big stone sword in order to not get these penalties. And she gave two of the obsidian hand axes that she had to our paladin and our fighter to use. It forced us to work together in a new way. And just like with the rust monster, you can go check out that video, it gives your party something to deal with long term as far as repercussions from the fight. Your gray oozes are going to look just like a small puddle on the floor, or sort of a wet, damp cavern wall or a crypt wall. So again, I really like the fact that those are harder to notice off of your perception checks. And of course, the most famous of the oozes, the Gelatinous Cube. These large beasts, they roam the halls of dungeons and maybe, or mines, or crypts, or catacombs, or things like that. And like I've said with most of these things, they are really tough to spot. They're almost completely translucent. Now, the only thing you might catch a glimpse of is if this Gelatinous Cube has eaten well recently. There could be bones or weapon or armor or gold pieces or whatever still floating around on its inside. But these things are awesome because they are large. They can fully engulf any large creature or smaller, and they take up the entire 5-foot cube that they're going to be in. Now that means that they can charge and hit your players, and they take a lot of damage when they get hit. You're looking at like 3d6 acid damage. And once they're engulfed, essentially it's starting to eat them already, and now they're taking twice that much acid damage. So these things are really awesome, and they can do a lot of damage really quickly. It's not going to take 1,000 years to digest someone inside of a gelatinous cube, unlike someone we know. So there are a few different ooey gooey critters that you can throw at your party the next time they jump down in their dungeons in search of gold and glory. So let me know what you think about the oozes that we talked about today. Do you have some that you've created or that you like from some other source materials? How do you like to use them? There are other abilities that they can have, like the ability to divide if you hit them with slashing damage. Do you use that in a creative way whenever you have them on the playing field? I'd like to hear your thoughts about this, as well as if there's any other iconic monsters or obscure monsters you'd like to hear me talk about on Monster Mash. Leave some comments in the section below and we'll respond to those, and who knows, might make one of your videos. I'd like to give a huge thanks to all of our patrons over at Patreon, especially to RV and Lainey and Sean and Joan. And a big thank you to everyone. All of you that are watching. If this is your first video, awesome, welcome. If you've been a long-time subscriber, that's great. Thank you so much. All of you that watch this and leave comments and interact, and especially when you share your videos with your friends and help us, get seen by more people and some more subscribers. That's really cool of you, and it helps us keep making these videos to bring. If you'd like to help out even more and get some cool stuff in return, well then head over to our Patreon and check that out and see if you want to join our campaign. You can get early videos and help us out for as little as $1 a month. That's not even going to buy you a coffee, but it goes a long way to helping us get more games, go to more events, have better equipment, and that all means bringing more and better videos to you, which is what we really want to be able to do. So if this is your first time, thanks a lot. I hope you hit that subscribe button and the bell if you want to get notifications as soon as we have our videos up, or just join us every Tuesday and Thursday. That's when we put things out. So until next time, I'm Ryan for Roll for Initiative, and this has been Monster Mash.
I didn't even know that you were there. Do you want to be a monster? My name's Hilo, and this is Monster Mash.